Hey guys, check out this oddball Suzuki that I just pulled out of storage. I've had this bike for almost 2 years now. It's kind of been sitting in the back of storage and just been waiting for the right time to get to it. So figured it's been sitting long enough. I'm going to pull it out and get this thing going, hopefully. 1978 DR370. This is actually one of the only ones I've ever seen in person. I was just at Mid-Ohio, and I don't think I saw one of these out there. And usually you see a little bit of everything there. So these things are kind of oddball, I guess, from what I'm reading online too. I guess the SP was the other model, the street version that you can get in this bike. And I'm not sure if there were many of these DRs sold, but like I said, it's the only one I've ever seen in person. It just happened to be on Marketplace a few years ago. So I jumped on it and picked it up. You can see it's a little bit shabby, but fairly complete. We've got some rust to deal with. Luckily, the tank is okay. It's not horrible in there. If I can get a light on there to show you, you can see there's some rust, a little bit of surface rust, but a little bit of vinegar in there will take care of that. We got some dents and scratches on the tank, nothing major. From what I can tell, the tank is not rotten from the bottom, so that's always a plus with these metal tanks. I always hate dealing with the rust in these things. Got a ripped up seat. Rear fender is pretty shabby looking, a little bit of rust. Missing the tail light, and I'm missing the headlight here too. One thing I forgot to mention, I did find a couple parts that I think will work on this that came off of a DS. Looks like the DS used the same style taillight for this thing, which is going to go right here. It had this like rubber flap for a mount, and it's got the same bolt pattern as what you see back here, so that should work for the taillight. And this headlight I got should work right in here too, so at least somewhat complete this thing off. Let's see if we can get those to work. But first of all, we got to make sure that the bike will run. Front fender, all the paint's gone off of there. I think it should be like a silver color. You can kind of see some remnants of that. Wheel set's in pretty good shape. We got some rust on the spokes. We got some rust down on the controls. The brake lever here is almost pretty much frozen. They got a cable system running over to the rear drum, so I'm sure that cable's going to need lubed up. Probably have to get all this apart and lube it up here because this is a little bit rusty. Rear wheel set, rusty spokes there. Exhaust is fully intact. We got the side covers. We are missing a couple strips here. One on this side and the other side. I guess that's really the only body panels that are missing. And you got this really tall cylinder 4-stroke. So, and we got sight glasses here too. Let's see if we got any oil in there. This thing does not have a dipstick. I'll have to get some light on there. We'll drain all that out and see what we're working with there. The engine does turn over, and it seems to have pretty decent compression. I don't want to do that too much until I get some oil down in the spark plug hole. But we got good compression, it seems. So we got a throttle that's not stuck. It's good. We'll probably still have to get into the carburetor. Front brake seems to work. The clutch, let's see if that works. Yeah, that's a little stiff. Probably use some lubrication on the cable. Let's see if we got movement down here. Yeah, it's not stuck, so that's good. We'll take a look at the airbox before we start kicking it over. Make sure we're not going to suck in any kind of mice nests. This looks to be, it was pulled out of a guy's garage. It was kind of a detached garage, so basically a barn. So I guess you can call this barn fresh. Still got all the dust and dirt on it still. We're going to start with the basics like we always do. We're going to pull the plug, get some oil down that spark plug hole, just to lubricate that cylinder up. We'll start kicking it over, see if we got any spark. Like I said before that, we'll get the airbox opened up, make sure that's clear. We're not going to suck in anything into the engine while we're doing that. And hopefully we can get this thing going. It should be pretty cool to take this back in the woods. From what I've gathered, these are very torquey, not very high revers. Someone said it was a lot like the XL350, where that engine just does not like to scream. It's a good thumper, low RPM, stump puller type engine. It's not going to be a high revving engine, so it should be fun back in the woods. So I'm going to get that plug off first, I think, and put some oil down the spark plug hole, and we'll get started on this project. Okay, let's get this plug out here first. It's in there hand tight. See what this plug looks like. Oh wow, it's a brand new plug. NGK D7EA. That is brand new. So I wonder if the previous owner was trying to get this thing going. Threw a new plug in there. Let's see if it sparks. Get some oil down in there. Yeah, I think the airbox is on this side. Just want to get a look at that, make sure we're not sucking in anything before we start kicking her over. Let's see if I can find a manual for this thing online too. Okay. Big canister's still intact. It's not rusted away. That's a good thing. It's in good shape. Okay, so how does this open up? I wonder if it's up under the seat. Let's get the seat off and take a look. Yeah, there's the airbox. See if this just pops off of here or what. Yep. Oh yeah, we got some evidence of a little critter living in there. At least the cage was on there, so you couldn't get into the carburetor. Let's see if we can get this out of the way. Yeah, we'll make a little filter for this. It's just going to wrap around there. I have the filter material, so that's not a big deal. But yeah, definitely signs of a little chipmunk or something in there. Might as well vacuum that out while we got this open. Okay, I'm gonna give this a few kicks. I'm just gonna leave that airbox open for now. Got it cleaned out. You got oil down the cylinder. Let's see if we got spark. It's grounding. Got the switch up top in the run position here. Let's see what happens. I'm not seeing anything. Okay, no spark. All right, luckily this is a points system ignition, so the points are underneath this cover here. And the reason why I say luckily is because I've had pretty bad luck with CDI boxes on Suzukis. At least 3 different Suzukis have had bad CDIs. Points are pretty much all mechanical. You usually can clean them off and get them working. So hopefully that's the case with this. Maybe they're just dirty. Let's pop this cover off right here and see what we're working with. Assuming the points are under this cover. I really should get a manual. If we gotta dig deeper, I'll start looking online, but I figure we'll do the basics now. Oh yeah, there's the points. Okay, I'm gonna turn over the engine here and see what we got. Okay, points are opening. There's contact there. Okay, so I got them in the open position. I'm gonna get some emery paper and just gently file that down a little bit and just kind of get the glazing off of there and cleaned up, and we'll see if that gives a spark. Okay, I didn't have any emery paper left. I did have some really fine grit sandpaper, so I'm just going to use that. I'm just going to very gently Okay, let's see if that gives us any spark. Nope, still no spark. All right, I'm gonna investigate up underneath the tank and get a look at the coil and the wiring and stuff under there. So we're gonna get the tank out of the way. I'm already missing the bolt in the back here. So I just gotta disconnect the fuel line. And I'll pull that out of the way. Well, I already see right here, we got a twisted wire, a bare wire. Let me zoom in here so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so this is never a good sign when you see this kind of stuff. We got bare wire that's twisted together with no cover on there. They may have had a cap on there at some point, but that's long gone. So that runs from the coil to the black with the yellow tracer. I got another black with the yellow tracer that's not plugged in anything. I got this red sheath wire, and it actually goes down into the points. This one here goes down to the points. That's going to the yellow with the red tracer. I got a gray one with two connectors in it that doesn't go anywhere. I'm assuming that's probably for the lights. And I got a black with a white tracer that's not plugged into anything. So I'm going to jump online. I got to find a wiring diagram for this bike and see if I can figure out where these are supposed to go and if this is even hooked up correctly. Actually, we do have some up here plugged in as well. We got the, I see that one's backwards. I got a yellow, red with a yellow tracer that was plugged into a black with a white tracer, and they were crisscrossed, and the white, or the black with the white tracer was going to the black with the yellow tracer. So let me just flip these around, and we'll see if we get lucky here. Kind of doubt it because there's still some wires that aren't plugged in anywhere, but we're going to see what happens. Nope, nothing. All right, so I found a wiring diagram online, and right here is standing out to me right away. The wire coming off of the points, the black wire, I know it's got red cover on it, but the wire's black there, should be going to a black with a yellow tracer wire. And you can see it's going to a yellow with a red tracer, which I think is for the lighting. So somebody was in here guessing. So we're gonna get this switched over to a one of these up top, probably this one here since it's open. We're gonna get this plugged into black with yellow tracer. And I'm gonna disconnect the kill switch too, just to make sure that's not screwing anything up. And kick it over a few more times. See if we can get any kind of spark now. Okay, I turned off a couple lights above me, so hopefully this will show up. If we can get it to spark. I get to sit right here. Oh yeah. Beautiful, we got spark. Pretty decent spark too, okay. I'm gonna hook up the kill switch just to see if that works. Zoom back out here. I have these two disconnected up top. And I should go right into this harness. So we got black with yellow tracer going to this black with a yellow tracer. It's plugged in. We got white or black with a white tracer going to black with a white tracer. All right, let's see if that works. still have spark with it in the on position. Get this straightened out here for you. Okay, we still got spark. I'm going to flip the kill switch to off, and it should stop the spark. Okay, it does. Flip it back on. A nice blue spark on there. All right, cool. So we're going to leave that as it is. I'm going to clean up this twisty wire one here. This one that they got twisted together. I might leave it as it is for now until I get it started, and then I'll I'll solder a new piece on there and shrink wrap that. I'm gonna get the carburetor out of the way next. Let's get these cables pulled first, and then we'll pull it from the boots there. So I guess it was already loose and on the wrong side. All right, I'm gonna get a heat gun and heat these up so they make them soft and malleable, and I can pull them off, and we're not gonna risk tearing the boots off. Okay, let's get this cracked open, see what we're dealing with here. I don't hear any fuel in there. So it's either gonna be really clean or really gummed up. Hopefully the previous owner drained the fuel out of the tank and the carb, because there was no fuel in the tank either when he parked it. How often does that happen? And it's glued on there pretty good. That's on there really good. There we go. Ooh, I can smell that. If you could only smell that too, you'd smell how old that gas is. Okay, it's a little gummy, but not horrible. Gasket's in good shape still. That's good. Okay, in case you're wondering, I'm going to use a little, an old bent needle out of a carburetor, and just try to tap that pin out of there. I don't want to hit too hard with anything too big, because I don't want to break these prongs off. So I'll just see if I can work this loose a little bit. There we go. We still got some springiness to that. Get this cleaned up. The float valve looks to be okay. blocked up pretty good. Okay, the pilot came loose, that's good. I was afraid of breaking that off in there. Okay, those holes are open. Sure that one's clogged up. Get a piece of wire and run that through there maybe. Oh yeah, it's clogged. There we go. Okay, it's opened up now. Okay, and that pilot has a number on there that is, looks like 25. So we got a pilot slow jet 25, and let's see what the main is. It might be 125. I would think it would be 125, yeah. 25 would be extremely small for a main. Yeah, 125. It's just really worn out. Tough to see. Okay. Get this cleaned up. Yeah, it's pulling some junk off of there. Definitely pulling some junk off. I'm going to see if I can get away with not having to ultrasonic clean this carburetor. It's really not too bad. It's a little varnished inside. You get some of these ports clogged up, but let's see if I can get away with not having to dunk it. Okay, we got all these opened back up. I'll remove this fuel screw here, but first we're going to see how many turns out it is. Use that as a reference. There's 1, 2, 3. Looks like 3 and 3/4. Yeah, 3 3/4. Take his back out. It's pretty crusty in there. It's either the O-ring that disintegrated or it's dirt. I think there's supposed to be an O-ring on there. That is long gone. Yeah, it looks like we got a spring in there too that didn't want to come out. There it is. There's the spring. You can see the fuel coming up there. Or the carb cleaner coming up where the fuel would be, so that's opened. Yeah, I did notice the drain screw is cracked open on here, so he probably did drain the fuel out of here, which explains why it's not as caked up as bad as it could have been. I've seen a lot worse. There's a little bit of there's some film on the bottom here, a little bit of junk at the bottom of the carb here too, but could have been a lot worse. So we'll just get this out, clean it up, and then I'll let some carb cleaner soak in here, and then we should be in good shape. Almost forgot too, there is an air screw on here. Let me see how far out this is. So this is 1/2. Looks like 1 turn out. Get that out of there too and clean up that passage. I've got an O-ring on it too. It's not in bad shape. Spring in there. I'm going to compress there too. I'm going to blow in these passages. Make sure they're all open. Cover your ears. Okay, just putting this back together now. I'll bring you back in once it's completely back together and ready to go back on the bike. Okay, we got the carb back together, ready to go back on the bike. I'm just going to heat these up again with the heat gun, make these soft, put a little bit of grease on the inside, so hopefully that'll slip in there a little bit easier. Less chance of tearing that, the better. Make sure it's as soft as I can get it. It's hot. It does get hot. Okay. Before I hook these cables up, I'm just going to run some lube down the push and pull cables here while we got this apart. All right, back over at the bench here, I got the air filter cage and my air filter element. I'm just going to cut a piece to fit this. Looks like this right here might be the width I need, so I'm just going to kind of roll it up on here. And right about here is where I'm going to cut it. A little bit of an overlap there, but not a big deal. We're just going to get a zip tie to hold this down. There's probably a metal strip in there or something at one point that would have held this on factory, but that is long gone, so we're just going to use zip ties. Okay, that's going to work for now. I'll get another one here just to kind of cinch up the middle, but we'll throw a little bit of oil on there, and we're good to go. All right, next thing I'm going to do is drain the oil out here before we start trying to kick it over to start it. I do see there's a sight glass here, but I can't get any oil to register on there. I hope it's not bone dry in there, but that window is kind of stained looking, so I don't know if I'm just not seeing the oil or what. There's also a oil filter. Let's see if we can get a shot of this underneath. So this is the drain plug right here. And then this, I'm going to take this off after I drain whatever oil's out in there. And that should expose the oil filter. And I think it's just a cage filter. I should be able to clean it and put it back in. So let's get whatever oil is left in here out and take a look at all that stuff. Okay, we got oil. It doesn't look horribly dirty. So that's a good thing. At least there's oil in there. It does smell like gas a little bit. So I'm wondering if some gas leaked past the piston. They left the gas on or something like that, and it just kind of seeped its way down into the oil. It does smell like gas. So now I can see there's no oil in the sight glass here. So it was actually filled with oil. I just couldn't tell. It must have been overfilled when they put it away because I tilted it sideways pretty far over and it never lost track of the oil in here. So I'm thinking the previous owner, when he put it away and parked it, he overfilled the oil just so it had oil all through the top of the bottom end at least. So that's a good thing because there's way more oil in here than what the manual calls for engine capacity, which is 1.7 quarts. There's at least 3 quarts here. And it's almost filled up this oil catcher here, which I've used on my car, and my one of my Hondas uses about 4 quarts, and it's not much more than this. So I'm thinking it was just overfilled when it was put away, which is a good thing. Because we had evidence of that too with the carburetor, with the drain was left open, and there was no gas left in the carb. So previous owner did a good thing when he put it away, just overfilled it with oil and drained the gas out as much as he could too. Okay, I'm going to work on getting that oil filter out of here next. Okay, we got a spring on there. Put that off to the side, and the filter is up in there still. There it is. Yeah, it's just a screen filter, so I'm going to clean this off, blow it out, and probably reuse this. A little dirty in here. Got some sludge at the bottom. No metal that I can see or feel. Filter, like I said, I'll get this cleaned up, blown out, and a little bit of crud on the outside. I think that was from my hands pulling it off, but I'm going to get this cleaned up now. Okay, we got it all cleaned off, blown out. Got the air compressor, just blew it out. Here's the inside of that, much cleaner. Okay, we got fresh 10W40 going back in. See if I can do this without spilling it. Okay, that took a little bit more than 1.7, closer to 2 quarts total. And we lean this up on its side. We do see the oil go to the top of the sight glass there, so that's a good thing. So we know we got enough in there for sure. All right, so I think it's time now to get a little fuel into the carburetor, and probably just end up using my auxiliary fuel tank just for now until I can get that metal one cleaned out completely, and we'll see if we can get this thing to fire up. Okay, we got the auxiliary tank hooked up. Let me turn this on, make sure we don't have any leaks. Okay, gas is going in, nothing's coming out. All right, let's see what happens. I'm gonna get you set up on the tripod, and I'm gonna start kicking. All right, so I don't have my boots here at the house with me to put on while I'm kicking this, so I'm gonna actually put on hockey shin pads, so don't laugh when you see me kicking it with this. just in case this big beast decides to kick back on me, being that there's no decompression release. I don't know how it's going to act. Two kicks and it wants to go already. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow. There's some stuff blowing out the exhaust. There must have been something living there at one point, but unbelievable. 2 kicks and she fired right up. I can't not believe that. I was expecting this thing to be a bear to start, but that's a pleasant surprise. Give it a few more. I have to turn that idle up a little bit. Actually kicks over a lot easier than I expected. I can't believe this thing's idling this nice. I am going to have to adjust the carburetor still a little bit, I think, because it's only idling with the choke on. When I take that off, it'll run, but I got to keep giving it gas. I'm going to might have to take the carburetor apart again and clean it, or I might mess with the fuel screw and the air screw a little bit. But that engine is pretty quiet. I don't hear any cam chain slap. Doesn't seem like I have to adjust the valves or anything because it starts up extremely easy. There's no cam chain noise. Right there is where you adjust the cam chain. But I can't believe how easy this started up. Second kick, and I promise you I was not kicking it before I got it on camera. That was the first time I kicked it like I normally do. I know people probably don't believe me, but I was really surprised. Get that opened up a little more. You can see it's got some still blowing out, you know, probably rust. I'll bet you this right here is kind of clogged up a little bit. That might not be helping things, but I'll let this run as long as I can. I wouldn't be surprised if something made a nest in there. That's a perfect place to, you can see how big it is. Oh, you got that the clutch cable burning up on there. I gotta get that off. So shut it down. Yeah, I gotta get that off of there. So yeah, we definitely had something living in this canister. I just went into the back where the stuff was blowing out, and I picked these up off the ground. So that was coming out of the exhaust. So that tells me chipmunk or something got in there. Hopefully the poor guy's still not in there and got out of there while I moved the bike over. Because if he's still in there, he's going to be cooking. But I think that is partially clogged at the moment. I'm going to keep running this for a little while and see if that breaks up a little bit. All right, I'm going to leave off here for this video, I think. It's running a little bit long, and the main goal to get it running was accomplished, so I'm pretty happy about that. It actually started way easier than I expected. So it's a really good start to this bike. Just got to get that carb sorted and a couple other things. In the next video, I'll probably do the tank, and I might tear into the brakes here, get this stuff freed up. This is all going to need lubrication. The cable here is really stiff, so that's going to need some attention. I don't know if I'll record all that. That's kind of boring to see me tearing the brakes unless you guys want to see that kind of stuff. Try to limit it to the more interesting, watchable stuff. But, you know, if you guys want to see me ripping into brakes too, let me know. I'll gladly include that. Like I said, I'll be putting vinegar in the tank here. We're going to do the old vinegar soak and get that cleaned up in there. And hopefully by then I'll have the carb sorted. And I got to get probably tubes in here too. I'm definitely not going to record myself wrestling tires because I'll end up getting flagged on YouTube for profanity. So I got to address that. We'll address the paint. I'll probably put a coat of paint on the fender, scuff that up, and get some plastic paint, silver for the fender to kind of spruce all that up too. So next video, guys, stay tuned. Hopefully we're a little bit further ahead at that point, and we can get closer to getting this thing in the woods. We'll see you then.